Hey YouTube, it's Evan Magician 34, and I've got your next edition of The Edge. And this next card, some people say it's actually pretty standard, but believe it or not, most players think of this as kind of like a fringe card. So I'm going to make a believer out of you today on Creature Swap. This card can definitely give you the edge. It's more of a main board card than a sideboard, and you may find yourself siding it out against a lot of matchups, and that's okay. The important thing is to know your opponent. But the main thing I'm going to focus on for this is just what are you going to be creature swapping. Creature swap is inherently a -1. You trade your creature with your opponent's creature, and then you're minus the spell card. So obviously, straight -1ing, you need to play it smart in order to make a profit at it. Well, obviously your ideal swap targets to your opponent are going to be cards you can profit from. Cards like Sangan, or Reborn Tengu, or Dandelion, or, well, any monster that recruits like Mystic Tomato, a TG monster, or even Card Trooper. These are all good things to give, and ideally this is what you're going to be giving to your opponent. If your deck includes a lot of cards like these, it's something to consider to run Creature Swap. Obviously the idea is, since Creature Swap doesn't allow you to pick the monster, you wait for your opponent to be sitting on one or two key monsters, usually just one is how it works out, and you just summon your guy, Creature Swap, and they're forced to give you their good monster. It's essentially a strategy of like playing King of the Hill. They're trying to protect their one big monster, and they may have a couple of back rows set to protect it, but they rarely stop Creature Swap. And most people aren't going to negate the summoning or bottomless or something like that when one of these hits the field. In fact, sometimes they can't. Like you can't even bottomless Card Trooper, for example. Instead, they're waiting to see what else you're going to play. But Creature Swap is one thing they don't have an answer to. Of course, that's not all you can do. While profiting straight up is always kind of a good plan, it still works just to steal quality over quantity kind of thing. You could just use your glow-up bulb, or your spore, or your battle fader you just used, or could even summon from your hand. Extra Mystic Shine Ball, Treeborn Frog, that Agent of Mystery Earth that you just used, a Max C that's proving dead in your hand, an Effect Veiler you got too many of. I mean, the sky's the limit, and a lot of times you can just summon, especially late game, summon, creature swap, and then beat them with straight damage off their own monster. So there are plenty of things you can give to your opponent in order to take something bigger and better, that you didn't have to put that kind of effort into summoning. And we'll get to that in a little bit. And if you're really gutsy, you can even run liability cards like the Bistro Butcher, where you can donate it to your opponent in order to attack it and use its effect to draw you cards. Or say Amoeba for combo decks. Or Sewer Priest, or really any spirit monster is quite good because they return to your hand, so your opponent didn't get a card after all. And if you want to do that, there's of course the classic combo with Legacy of Yatagarasu. Have this set for from a turn before, and then creature swap, so you steal their guy, you're going to get your Sewer Priest back at the end of the turn anyway, so you've already hurt them in quite a few ways. Now you flip your Legacy and draw 2 cards, so it just digs it that much deeper for them. It's a little challenging to pull off, but it's very rewarding. I wouldn't call these shining arguments necessarily for running creature swap, but these are cool combos if you want to try them. And since we're talking about creature swap, we might as well mention them. Now on to the other half of it. What are you going to be stealing? Well, early game, you get to steal things like Thunder King that your opponent's going to give you, which can also be a detriment to them. This can get in the way of their special summons of like their Synchros and Ixies. So he's a common steal target. Any Synchro monster is a good stealing target. That's mid to late game usually, as well as Ixies monsters, Fusion monsters. And when they set cards, that's also a good time to give them a profit monster like Sangan in order to steal things that could end up being Raikou or Spirit Reaper or some such thing. Yes, okay, sometimes you'll end up stealing a Sangan, but that's okay because now you control it and they have to come get it. And you can always Ixies that Sangan off to get around its effect. So, that's basically the deal on Creature Swap. It's short and it's sweet, but that's how it is. It's a very good card. If you haven't tried it, I recommend it. And if your deck includes things like this, which it really should, you might want to consider it. Anything from agents to dark worlds to plants can easily profit from Creature Swap. It's a good time to try it. So until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool videos.